With 3 very enjoyable Spider-Man games under its belt, there's few studios I'd trust more to get Marvel's Wolverine right than Insomniac. But to be perfectly honest, the dev has never quite made a perfect superhero game. I still wake up in a cold sweat each and every night screaming about those awful Mary Jane stealth sections. While Wolverine has put in some great appearances across games like Marvel's Midnight Suns and Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, it has been tough to get the sharp-clawed hero right in the past. Insomniac Games' bread and butter has always been about giving us access to power fantasies, even before releasing Marvel's Spider-Man. Each Ratchet & Clank introduced bigger, badder, beefier weapons for its cute cartoon hero, and even Spyro the Dragon felt fresh at the time with his dragon-based powers, including pointy horns and flame breath. Since tackling Spidey, each subsequent game from the studio has only gotten better at superheroics, which is why the first-party exclusive Marvel's Wolverine isn't just one of the biggest new PS5 games of the year, but is one of my most anticipated new releases of 2026 across the board. Well, with that in mind, here's 4 things that we want, and 4 things we resolutely don't from Wolverine's new game. Do combat that varies up endless clawing. Wolverine is rated M for mature, but based on the violence in the reveal trailer, he's hoping to earn a more thematically appropriate X. Wolverine's claws tear through torsos, merrily lop off limbs, and are buried in human skulls so graphically that even Jason Voorhees would tell him to ease up a little. I'd be lying if I claimed a somewhat unpleasant part of me wasn't gleefully looking forward to slicing chumps into extra bloody ribbons. What? But keeping combat interesting for a whole campaign is tricky, even with 2 fistfuls of knives. This action-heavy slasher will likely keep things fresh by having you buy new moves from a skill tree, if the Spider-Man games are any indication. But hopefully it'll also have fighting options unique to each location. We see Wolverine walk into a bar in the trailer, and I'll be livid if that's not setting up slamming someone's head through a jukebox. Extra points if it then starts playing the X-Men animated series theme. Tokyo and Canada are also confirmed, which means samurai swords and maple syrup bottles you can squeeze into enemies' eyes should be too. The former is even straight from the comics. Don't make us play anyone without powers. I'm still in disbelief that Mary Jane's aforementioned boring stealth sections returned for Spider-Man 2. I do not want a Wolverine game that misguidedly tries to add variety by having us play a level as Wolverine's boring mate. Luckily, if Insomniac is determined to have multiple playable characters again, there is an obvious solution. Do multiple playable mutants. With Mystique and Omega Red confirmed, and surely more surprise mutants to come, how about sections where we play as one of them? Mystique can transform her appearance to perfectly mimic anyone else, which basically makes her a walking Hitman level. A token stealth section would actually feel pretty novel if you had to constantly avoid running into yourself. Omega Red can release death spores that kill humans instantly. So how about a minigame where you blow on the controller and send those spores off to your victims? Actually, no, let's stick that last idea on the maybe pile. Don't use that motorbike for long, boring commutes. When I saw Wolverine riding a motorbike in the trailer, I wept. Maybe I've got PTSD from Metroid Prime 4, but the last thing I want is another game that mistakes a long motorbike ride for compelling gameplay. Faking scale by making me endure a long commute to where the action is will only give me lots of time to think of nasty things to call your game, Insomniac. Such as Wolverine, more like Wolverine, to the concept of respecting the player's time, that is. Yeah, okay, that wasn't great, but that's why you shouldn't give me a long, dull drive to think of something better. While the Spider-Man games feature huge open worlds, it's a highlight thanks to the expressivity of web-slinging. Let's take a break and allow Wolverine to enjoy some smaller, denser environments. Do amazing chase set pieces with that motorbike. At one point in the trailer, Wolverine uses his motorbike to leap onto the back of a moving truck. Yes, yes, yes. I want on-road fights atop vehicles that are laughing at the speed limit. I want that bike to be a constant launch pad to send me giddily soaring towards enemies in need of a good slicing. I want fools constantly trying to push Logan off his wheels and getting the old adamantium spikes in their tires for the trouble, if not their screaming faces. It's about time a studio with a mega budget remade Road Rash properly. Don't tell the story through endless walk and talk scenes. Hands up, everyone who bought Spider-Man 2 so they could endure an unskippable night at the fun fair with Peter Parker and pals. Now, put your hands down before I slap you with them. I am so tired of the walk and talk sequence, sometimes broken up with tedious minigames, if you're lucky, as a method of storytelling. They're an overdone way to disguise and needlessly lengthen what are essentially cutscenes. Wolverine is all about action. I hope if anyone suggests a stroll to Logan, he rightly buries his claws in their kneecaps. Don't look like that. That's not even close to the most violent thing he does in the trailer. Do a story with a fresh take on Wolverine. One of the things I like the most about the Spider-Man games are when they play around with the classic story beats, like making Venom a different character to Eddie Brock in Spider-Man 2. Now, according to Sony's website, Wolverine is on the hunt to uncover the secrets of a dark past that keeps eluding him. Now, I've got every finger crossed that said dark past is not simply the time William Stryker gave his skeleton a metallic makeover, because that's been covered to death by comics, cartoons, and one particularly awful movie, which bizarrely also gave us the only good Wolverine game so far, so that's something, I guess. Give us a new origin, or at least a new dark past to discover, even if it turns out to just be the time he and Cyclops got too into a game of strip poker. And don't tell a story that keeps endlessly setting up threads for later games. Spider-Man 2 had a real nasty case of this. I endured a tedious side quest because I thought it was building up to a boss battle with Carnage. Nope. It ends with Cletus Cassidy saying the word Carnage basically to camera before disappearing. Likewise with Chameleon. Likewise with Silk. I don't mind a post-credits tease, but I didn't pay $70 to watch a trailer for Spider-Man 3. A Wolverine game with a whole new universe of mutants to introduce could potentially indulge far too much of this. I don't want a cutscene of Logan saying, "Oh, maybe I'll check out this so-called mutant school some other time," or texting Toad to apologetically cancel their boss fight because he's too busy with a long, boring motorbike ride to the Tokyo level. So, there's our 4 do's and don'ts for Marvel's Wolverine. But what do you want and don't want to see in Insomniac's upcoming game? Let us know and stick with GamesRadar for the biggest 2026 titles.